Hi there. In this video, we're going to show you the 5 steps that are required for jumpstarting your online business. Step 1, purchase a domain name. Step 2, purchase a web host account. Step 3, install a free WordPress website on your web host account. Step 4, implement a social media campaign. And step 5, implement a marketing campaign. Now, each of those steps requires a great deal of time, effort, and energy. But in this video, we are outlining the mindset that's required for each of those steps to be a smooth process. Hi, my name is Ngozi. I'm an e-commerce technician, web designer, and video content creator with a background in customer service. I'm part of the K1 agency team, and we offer a vast array of web, graphic design, e-commerce, and marketing services. You should subscribe for our free tutorials and discounts, and check out our website, k1marketing.online, for any online services that you require. So let's get into it. Let's talk about my clients. My clients are usually excursion operators and boat owners who have zero computer or technical know-how. They know how to get you through choppy seas, but they don't know the left mouse button from the right. So I usually have to do a great deal of educating, and this video is for them, or for anyone who needs any technical guidance or know-how to get their online business up and running. So, a lot of my clients don't know the difference between a website and social media. They'll actually come to me and they'll say people are constantly asking them for their website, and when they tell them that they have a Facebook page, the clients go away. So I'll have to explain to them the difference between a website and social media is like the difference between an uptown or downtown shop and advertising on a billboard. So let's get into the first question. What is a website? A website is the digital equivalent of your shop, store, or uptown or downtown office. It is a digital platform in which clients and potential customers can survey all of your goods and services and make inquiries or purchases from the comfort of their phone. The next question is, what is social media? Well, social media is the digital equivalent of radio, television, magazine, and billboard advertisements. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, Twitter, all of those are social media platforms. So once upon a time, if you opened up a downtown shop, you would then have to advertise that particular shop in magazines or billboards, radio and television ads, and social media has sort of replaced them, even though they still exist. There are different designations for it now, though. So your billboards would be termed out-of-home marketing, and social media is termed online marketing. And it's a smart idea to do both, but we'll talk about that later on in this video. The next question is, what is a domain name? And this is something a lot of people don't really know. A domain name serves a dual purpose. That's why it's called domain name. A domain name is the digital equivalent of the property upon which your store or office sits on. So if you were to rent a brick and mortar shop downtown or uptown, as it were, it would be on actual property. And so on a digital level, your domain name serves as the digital address for your online business. And secondly, the domain name actually serves as a way to brand your business, whereby your domain name will be a short and sweet version of your actual legal business name. I hope that explains things. So let's move on to the next question. What is a web host? This is something none of my clients understand, so I'm going to explain this very carefully. A web host is basically a company with a lot of large hard disks or disk drives, and it holds all of the pictures, the video, information, the databases, the emails that can be accessed on your website. So if I can explain it simply, we can liken your web host to being the digital equivalent of a utility, because it's the actual physical drive that holds all the information that people will be accessing from your website. In fact, your website depends on your web host for security, backups, and accessibility. And it makes sure that your website has no downtime. So the web host is basically the digital equivalent of all of the utilities that would exist in your store. Because if you were renting a business or a building or an office, it would need light, it would need electricity, it would need running water, it would need heat, it would need air conditioning. And these are the only things that would allow your business to actually function. So let's talk about the next step, starting your online business. Now that you know all of the components of your online business, how each one will entail a great deal of time, effort, and energy, we're going to show you the 5 steps required to jumpstart your online business and get it up and running. I have a tutorial video for each of these steps because each step is like a little adventure unto itself. All right, it's not going to be done overnight. But the good news is, once you do it, you have put all of the tracks for success in place. You will set up a pipeline by which your business can actually thrive. So let's talk about step 1, buying a domain name. Let's say that you've gone through the trouble of obtaining a business license, getting a business bank account, and you have a TIN number. You're ready to do business, but you don't want the overhead of renting out a business or a building. You have an office maybe in your home, and you don't want to have to pay extra utilities for your business itself. So you just want to make sure that you're good and that all of your services are ready to be purchased online. Create an account with a domain name registrar. Domain name registry is controlled by the ICANN, that is the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. It says a global multi-stakeholder group. So when you purchase your domain name, that's where your money's going to go. It describes itself as a nonprofit organization headquartered in the United States, responsible for coordinating the maintenance. It's a long story. Basically, they're the ones that control the prices and standards of domain names. It could be any name that you want or is available. It's usually akin to the name of your business. So we were talking about making a short and sweet version of your business name. So if you're, let me see if I can fix this. Yeah, just fix that. Excuse me, guys. So, darn it, what is that little piece of fluff right there? Let me fix that. Okay, sorry. It just won't fix. Okay, so the ICANN, basically they're the ones that control the prices and the standards of your domain names. It could be any name you want. It should be a short and sweet version of your name or a version of your actual business. So let's say if your business is Bart Simpson Hardware, that might be a little too long for people to type in. So maybe you want to just say B Simpson Hardware. Even that's a little long. So it could just be B Simpson Online. That's still too long. You might need to get creative, okay? You might say B Simpson and just leave it at that. So it's bsimpson.com. So basically you want to create a short, sweet derivative. Sometimes the easiest way to do that is to put the area code. So if your business is Bart Simpson Hardware, your domain name might be, if you're in Philadelphia, B Simpson 215. If you're in the Bahamas, it might be B Simpson 242, and it might be a .com. We're getting to that. So let's talk about the domain name extensions. You have a domain name. You choose the extension of your domain name. For your typical extension, it would be something akin to your business. For instance, .com is the most common domain name extension, and it's usually the easiest to remember. But there are other extensions such as .net for a network, .org for an organization, all right? I believe there may even be a .church, because the ICANN has just recently allowed a multitude of extensions to exist that never existed before. So if you operate a tour company, you can be mybusiness.tour. Or if you're a taxi driver, mybusiness.taxi. It really is up to you. There's a .beauty even. So if you are trying to run a makeup tutorial business, you could be mybusiness.beauty or mybusiness.art if you are an artist. The list goes on, but you need to keep in mind that there are certain social attitudes towards extensions which might make people prejudiced if you get too creative. So if you are a real estate or marketing company, it would be best to stick with a .com, and if that's not available, a .online. However, if you're a photographer, if you want to show off your portfolio, maybe you're a DJ, maybe you're an artist, then yes, you can delve into one of those creative extension names. I say this because it's important for a straightforward business to keep it uncomplicated. People are very flighty. For instance, I've been told that people on the East Coast in the States don't trust WhatsApp, but people here in this region rely on WhatsApp for a lot of their business. So it really depends. I just wanted to let you know that different regions have different prejudices towards certain online practices. You keep that in mind, okay? Let's talk about the next thing. Oh yes, price. Because once upon a time, a domain name went for about $15, but the ICANN has recently upped the price to $20. Sometimes people like to protect their brand and they buy a bunch of domain names with different extensions. It's the same domain name with a .org, .gov, well, sorry, you can't do .gov, but .net, .me. It really depends on how much you want to protect your brand. So let's talk about something else here. Let's talk about being careful of something called front running. I really don't know what the latest is on front running, but when I first became aware of it, this was something very important to keep in mind. People are always front running your domain names. Front running is the digital equivalent of claim jumping. In the Wild West, when everyone went out looking for gold, you had a gold find. There were claim jumpers who would wait for you to take some samples of your nuggets to be assayed. They would jump your claim. So by the time you came back, you no longer had your claim. A lot of people lost their gold claims that way, and of course, a lot of people got killed. Yeah. So when you look up your domain name, you have to be smart. You have to be very slick about it. Because the front runners are the people behind the scenes. They can see the domain names that you are researching, and they might decide to buy it first. On many an occasion, a group will look up a domain name, they'll have a meeting, they'll raise money, and then they'll decide to purchase it, only to discover that someone else purchased it the day before. So these were the front runners who saw that they were looking at the domain and decided to get it. You might have bought it for $15. Now that they've bought it, they're going to sell it to you for $15,000. At first, no one believed there was such a thing. Everybody sort of gaslit people who said, someone's stealing my domains before I buy them. But the ugly truth was exposed. And so the smart way to find your domain is just to type it into any browser address window to see if it's there. If the page comes up empty, voila, the domain is available and nobody knows you're looking at it. I don't really know what's going on with front running now. I don't know if people go to jail for that. They ought to go to jail for that because it's theft, plain and simple. And I've had a lot of domains stolen from me when I was stupid enough to type it into the domain registrar search window. And someone's looking at what I'm searching for, and then they buy it before I do. And I really wanted to get on a plane or make a phone call to the Godfather, if you know what I mean. But we won't talk about that. So let's go into step 2, buying your web host account. After you've purchased your domain name, you need to purchase a web host account. So we talked about web hosting earlier. It is the digital equivalent of utilities in your business, and your business will rely on this web host in order to be accessible to people. So most web host companies will not only provide your website with security, but also with backups. So in case something goes wrong with your website, the backup can be installed right away without a hitch. A really good web host company that I know of, Host Armada, will usually charge you maybe $157 to $225 a year for a web host account. It really depends on which package you purchase. But if you purchase from the link below, you will get 75% off on your first year. That means you'll roughly have to pay $35, coupled with the $20 that you pay for your domain name. You would have spent about $50 to get your business up and running. Let's go on to the third question, or the building a WordPress website. WordPress is free. That's the good news. And there's an entire host of plugins that will allow you to create a website from a very simple personal profile to a full e-commerce website to an even bigger or more complex church or organization membership-driven website, and even a social media platform. Now, I used to be a big fan of Joomla. Joomla, like WordPress, is a CMS, or a content management system, but I have become more and more attracted to and even dependent on WordPress because it is simpler, it is far more versatile, and it's definitely faster in terms of setting up something that you can look at right away. And a lot of people get stuck on the aesthetics of a website. They spend a lot of time making it look pretty, and that's all fine and dandy. But I'm a bigger fan of function over form. I like to make sure that the machine is up and running. And so one of the first things I do when I set up a WordPress website is create a contact form so that clients can contact me directly. And I get their email address, I get their phone number, I get their name. And that's the fastest way to get a turnover. But I digress. Let's get back to what we were talking about. So we were talking about WordPress being one of the many CMS, or content management systems, and it's a perfect way to go. And there are all these nice plugins, and some of the plugins will eventually cost you some money if you want the more sophisticated features that they have. But there are enough free plugins for you to use that will allow you to scale your business, get it up and running, and then when it's making money, then you can start purchasing the more sophisticated plugin features. I would love to do that for you. If you want me to set up your WordPress website, I can do it in less than 24 hours. In fact, I can do it in less than an hour. And then we can discuss what you want your website to look like. What's the first product or service you want people to see or purchase? And how do you think that can be translated into your social media campaign? These are the things we do at K1 Marketing. You can take a look at our website to look at our price packages in the link below. Let's move on to step 4, promoting on social media. Now, once your website is built to the degree that you can accept online inquiries or credit card transactions for goods and services, you are ready to promote your online business on social media. Social media outlets such as Facebook and YouTube offer a long format, the letterbox format that we used to call in motion pictures. Whereas TikTok and Instagram usually use the vertical 9:16 format, which fits a phone window perfectly. Facebook and YouTube are more for longer videos that will be over 3 to 5 minutes, maybe even an hour. TikTok and Instagram videos are usually shorter. I like to keep my vertical videos 30 seconds long because I know nobody really has time. They're swiping, they're looking, they're watching. You just want to put your name out there and you have 30 seconds to close that deal. When you do social media promotion, make sure to keep those formats in mind and that you promote enticing photos or information about your business, goods, and services. And it's a good idea to keep an organic approach that people can feel that there's someone they can talk to behind the business. It's a really good idea to hire a social media manager to make sure that you post things regularly. I like to post at least 3 times a week, when there's a special offer being made, just to keep the algorithm of those social media platforms aware of my business. And of course, I'm very quick to engage any response that I get to these social media posts. That's the most important thing. I know a lot of people will put things out there and then people will say, well, how much or where can I get it? And nobody responds to them, and that's business revenues lost. You have to be really Johnny on the spot about it. You have to be ready to jump in the minute anyone expresses any interest, even if they give you a casual compliment. Respond to that compliment. Be live with your social media. So I offer social media management services where at very low prices, I can not only create video content that will engage your audience or your market, but I will also respond to any potential inquiries that come through as a result of these posts. Like any online work, it requires time and energy. The right keywords and hashtags have to be placed on each and every post, and it's important to make sure that whoever sees your post can gain easy access to both your website and contact information. The "if you build it, they will come" myth. One standout problem that I've run into is clients who think that the minute their website is built and published, that their business will suddenly be deluged with clients.
If you build it, he will come.
They have this general idea that if you build it, they will come. When the truth is, if you build it, it will sit there. Like any other business, you have to actually make an effort to promote yourself, promote your store, promote your goods and services. And when you have a really good service or a discount even, start an actual active marketing campaign around it. If you had a store downtown or uptown, you can't assume people walking by your store are just going to automatically come into your store. You would have someone standing outside your store passing out leaflets or pamphlets, something to promote your business so that people are aware of your goods and services. Which brings us to step 5, begin a marketing campaign. A lot of people need to understand the difference between sales and marketing. Marketing is when you create awareness about a product, and sales is when you get people to part with their money for that product or service. But first they need to be aware of it. And how can they be aware of it unless you're promoting it? They have to have seen it. They have to have heard their friends talking about it. So when they see it again, they're like, oh, I've been meaning to buy that. Or I gotta get one of those. So this brings us to step 5. Begin a marketing campaign. There are so many marketing campaigns. Some of them are very cheap. Some of them are very expensive. Both of them are effective only depending on the kind of outreach or splash that you're trying to make. In other words, if you're an excursion business and it's September or it's late August and the school year is about to begin, it doesn't really make sense to put out promotions for your business because a lot of people are enrolling in school and that money is going elsewhere. You want to do that just before spring break. You want to do that around mid-November for the Christmas vacation crowd. So you have to be aware of how you're going to reach your target audience, what you're going to say to them to get them aware of your product, and then what needs to be said to close the deal, because marketing and sales have to work in tandem. All right, so what I'm trying to say here is that you have to have a marketing campaign. You can't just assume that your website will do all the heavy lifting, nor can you assume that your social media will do all the heavy lifting. timing is everything. And we can provide you with varying marketing packages that are suitable depending on the market that you want to tap into. You could purchase advertisements on any social media platform such as Facebook, Google, WhatsApp, Instagram, and you will reach people and it will generate business. But the problem is that once the campaign is over, so too is the business. You want a campaign that will allow you to maintain visibility for an entire year and increase your ranking on search engines so that people can find your business according to certain keywords. And one marketing package that I would love to encourage every online business is brand marketing. We provide you with a brand marketing package advertisement. Our marketing packages begin as low as $255, and that's an annual fee. But you can choose to pay for even bigger packages which have a reach way beyond 3.3 million monthly visits alone, okay? We can go even up to 28 million monthly visits to your website. This is what these packages can do for you. So it's enough to keep your business going, to generate repeat clients, and that's much better than paying $90 a month for a campaign which ends after 30 days. And then once the campaign is over, all of your business is gone. That's not enough time to build a clientele. We'd love to take care of some of these things for you. We hope you learned a great deal on how to start your online business. And if you take our tutorials and subscribe to get your online business up and running. If you contact me, if you go to our website, K1 Marketing, a customer agent such as myself will either make sure you get everything you need. Ciao.